Creator, Source, I ask for your permission to be a clear channel. Help remove any blocks, any judgments, any expectations of the outcome, as I bring forth what is needed in these holy moments for the highest good. Amen. You can record this. I'm going to record this, but feel free to do so if you want. And it will take me just a minute or so to get into the zone. Welcome. We're glad you're here on this spectacular day. It is good to gather together to learn about ways of being in this world. It is good to gather together with people of a like mind to explore things that have not been explored before. We come to you today with love and light. Did you know that you are loved more than you could possibly imagine? That your angels, guides, and ancestors are surrounding you, are bringing you signs to help guide you along your pathway, that are bringing you support to help lift you when times are tough. But your guides, angels, ancestors, source energy itself will never interfere with your journey because you have free will. So you are free to make any decision that you want to as you navigate this thing you call life. We think that's an interesting way of saying it because you yourself are eternal. You're a piece of the source of all. You have never not existed. You will never not exist. And you chose to incarnate for this time, wearing the costume of your name, to play with energy and explore some ideas and thoughts as you walk this 3D world. As doing so, you have the ability to create that which you see around you. But you are co-creating with all of creation. You are co-creating with the birds, with the dogs, with the rocks, with the fish, with the ants, with the trees, with the very air itself. So when you create something or have an idea of something, it doesn't necessarily manifest instantaneously the way you would have it be, for all of the equations of all of the thoughts are taken into consideration as something is brought into fruition. So, the more intentional you are in bringing through energy and bringing through the ideas and thoughts you have, the more clear your creation will be. The more you surround yourself with like-minded people and like-minded energies, the more the creation will be of a consistent nature versus one that is roughly hewn from a bunch of different inputs. So, go forth, create, be of the mind of a creator as you walk this earth. Take a moment and notice the beauty around you. Let that inform your creations, let that inform your decisions. For energy goes where attention flows, and what you pay attention to is what you will manifest by your very nature as a creator. This is a very powerful understanding, a very deep knowledge in this. Where you focus your energy, where you focus your attention, that manifests for you. The challenge with a lot of humans is they focus on things not preferred because they are louder, they are brighter, they are more urgent in their way of being. And therefore they become distracted by those things that they really don't prefer. Thus, providing their attention to them, they manifest more of that in their life. And they are often dismayed by that creation and lament that life is not going their way. We would correct them and say life is actually exactly going their way by how they're throwing their energy. And if they would simply move their energy from the things not preferred to something they do prefer, their whole experience would change. We understand as we say these words that it is much easier said than done for The not preferred is louder, more urgent, and often brings with it a source of pain, and that gathers your attention. How to navigate out of those waters, however, is quite simple. Take a moment, breathe, and then choose to focus on something preferred. We would suggest that you develop a list of items that you definitely are thankful for, that bring you joy, and have those in your back pocket. So when you find yourself in a situation that is of less than perfect experiences, you would then take that list out and begin to focus your attention on the items on that list, and therefore your attention becomes drawn away from those things not preferred into things preferred. As you navigate the waters of this timeline, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of division in the air, there's a lot of strife thrown about, talk of dis-ease. You watch your television or your news feeds and everything seems to be of a negative nature. We would say to you this is a sensationalized play of certain events in your timeline, but the majority of things going on in this world are of love and light and kindness and goodness. And if you just look beyond the sense of urgency of your feeds, you will find things that bring you joy, of people helping other people, of people rising up from their dis-ease into ease, of people caring and giving and sharing. However, that doesn't sell newspapers, as they say, so you don't see that so much in your feed. But look for that, and when you find those moments, share those. Focus on those. Make those part of what your news feed is, so the entire energy of your feed changes, and that will begin to help change other people. As we navigate these waters, as we walk this path as humans, it's about our vibration. How we are being is how we affect the changes around us. There's a law of entrainment that is talked about in your sciences, which is about two items moving at a different pace or in a different space, but through a vibration coming together in sync, in alignment. Think of clocks ticking on a wall where they're out of sync, but then after a short amount of time, they become into sync. This is called entrainment. Or when your curio cabinet starts shaking from a car driving by, that is the entrainment that is necessary for that to happen. You as a human have that same ability through how you are vibrating and how you are being. This isn't something you do, this is something of how you are, in so much as that when you are happy and you walk down a street and you smile at a stranger passing by, notice how they pick up your smile. The same way, if you stub your toe as you're getting out of bed, your whole day suddenly is difficult because everything is driven by that energy and everything is happening to you. Dropping your coffee cup, forgetting your keys, getting locked out of your car. All of those things are in response to that original energy. How do you change that? Great question. You find that list that you have in your pocket and you start referring to those things that make you joyful. Your friends, your family, your pets, the beautiful blue sky, the beautiful flowers sitting on your credenza. All of those things help change your energy and get you out of the vibration of negativity into the vibration of positivity. It's a conscious choice. And as a conscious creator, you have the choice to remain in something not preferred or jump into that energy of joy and love. Moving through this age, the only way a new world will be birthed is if more and more people find that energy of joy, not thinking good thoughts, not wearing a bumper sticker on their t-shirt or their car, or giving lip service to being of a certain way, but living that way and feeling it with their heart, being in the energy of joy, being in the energy of love. Again, we understand that this seems difficult when everything coming across your feeds is negative. That is where that list comes in handy. by focusing on those energies, by focusing on that love, you are able to change your vibration, which therefore changes the vibrations of those around you. This time is very important in your timeline. It is a revealing. Some would say apocalypse, which simply means revealing. People are given a choice. And the line of division is really about a self-centered way of being and a global way of being. The self-centered way of being is stuck in the energy of fear and stuck in the energy of, if you have some, I will have less. This is the farthest thing from the truth. The energy of community, of love, of sharing is an important part in this, because what you cast out, what you give away, energetically comes back to you. This planet does have enough if it is spread around. There is a saying in ancient Asian cultures that running water is fresh, and when water pools, it becomes stagnant. Even animals don't drink from that stagnant water, but a lot of your systems in and of itself are designed to stop the flow of energy. Energy is all things. It is the way you're feeling, it is your modes of currency, it is how you live your life. When you stop moving, you become stagnant, and that could be everything from sitting on your couch watching Netflix and not interacting with people, to saving all of your money and not giving away to others. Everything requires a flow. When things flow, when things move, they are alive. When they begin to stop, when you stop exercising, when you stop giving, when you stop sharing your energy, you become like that pool that the animals don't drink from. It becomes stagnant and soon becomes dead. The encouragement here is to be like water, to go forth and flow energetically. Know that everything will work out, because as you cast out, it comes back to you. That is a natural law. It is a perpetual motion. It is a cycle. What you give out returns. What you give out returns. What you give out returns. Embrace that idea as you walk forth in this planet and watch what happens. It's important that you test those sayings, that you test that paradigm, because our words are not going to be the only thing that teaches you. It is your experience with those words and the implementation of those words that will show you the proof in the pudding. Going forth from this place, we are going to encourage you to go forth as water, flow freely, spread love, spread joy. Walk through your day with a smile on your face. If you don't feel it, find that list, find those things that can bring you that joy, so you may walk forth and spread that energy and spread that love. That will begin to change the world, because as you walk forth in joy and happiness, vibrating with an energy of love and light, those around you will watch you and wonder, I wonder what she has, I wonder what he has. How does that energy affect them, and how can I have that? They will be drawn to you. They will ask you questions. And when they do, share your secret, for it truly isn't a secret. It's something that everyone should know. Be in the flow, be in love, be in light. Find the joy in every moment, and it will change your world. We know some of you come here today with some questions, and we would love to entertain some of those at this time.
Anybody? I'll go first. For the, this is actually, one of these questions applies to me. So what guidance do you have for me as I navigate a job transition, which is actually transitioning to retirement? And did I make the right decision? And the area that I should be guided to.
we would throw part of your question back to you. Did you make the right decision?
Yes.
Of course you did. Of course you did. As you transition, look forward to the time that you have, the abundance of time that you have. And your question is valid in so much as where should I begin to focus my energy? And we would again throw back to you part of the question and saying, what do you want to do? What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? Where do you want to explore? Now, we also understand that that rabbit hole is huge and there are so many things you can do with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And we would begin the journey, as always, by saying a great place to start is making that list of things that make you joyful. Follow that path. Now, there's a secret to how your angels, guides, and ancestors will help steer you along the way. And the reason we're not going to give you a specific answer like you should go into basket weaving is because that would rob you of your free will. But your angels, guides, and ancestors, we speak to you through a pull, things that interest you, things that make you excited, that make you go, ooh, that interest you. Follow that pathway. Now, the first thing that interests you isn't necessarily your end result, but it leads you to another thing, which leads you to another thing. Think of a YouTube rabbit hole that everyone goes down. Once you start walking that path and you move from thing that interests you to thing that interests you, you're able to discover and waken up those hidden gifts that lie within you. Continuing to explore the paths you're currently on is a great place to start, but don't limit yourself. Be open to all the things and find out which thing first piques your interest, piques your curiosity, that makes you go, follow that. Follow those breadcrumbs and discover. Anything more, there is no requirement for you of what exactly you need to do. Figure out where you're pulled and walk in that direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did that answer your questions? Ask deeper.
I feel like I do that I do things that bring me joy, that I do follow things. But I kind of get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm interested in this, but then I kind of talk myself out of it, like, oh, that's not logical, or that will never happen, or you wouldn't be really happy doing that, or... So
that's a different question.
Yeah.
That's the balance between the ego and the spirit.
Right.
What we're talking about, the pull, is not an egoic pull. And you can, quote unquote, talk yourself out of anything when the ego gets involved. And all of this in this journey for everyone is about the balance between ego and spirit. So talk yourself out, but catch yourself now that you have this information and knowing that that's an egoic way of doing things. Find the balance. Pull it into your heart. Feel into your heart with those things that make you go, ooh, if they interest you and they feel good in your heart, the head then doesn't have an argument because it feels good. Does that distinction make sense to you?
Yes.
And so as you get into this, oh, my head is talking me out of things, pull those ideas into your heart. Now, if your heart is like, meh, then that's a great sign that probably, then your ego's right. That isn't the right path for you at this time. But if your ego is going, don't do that, but you pull that thought into your heart's like, oh, this feels good. That is the path that you walk. That's a clear sign from source that this is an area that will benefit you. And everything serves you. There, to put the ego in its place, there's nothing you can do that doesn't serve you in some way. Are some things more preferred? Some things more exciting? Most certainly. That's where the heart comes in. But not a single thing you can do, and we mean this to the nth of this definition, not a single thing you do does not serve you in one way, shape, or form. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Any more on that question?
No, I think it's more on me actually taking the action, or doing the action.
Yeah, and when you're ready. The second guessing, the ego is part of your operating system here. It's the thing that gets you around this planet. So we understand that makes things more difficult, but that also makes it more exciting. That's where the sense of accomplishment comes, when you actually feel it, and even if you have those self-doubts, and trust, everyone has self-doubts. When you have those moments, they give more pride, more joy for overcoming them, and that's part of the fun of this process. And super important in all of this is this needs to be fun. This should be joyous exploration of energy and playing around, especially in retirement.
Yes.
Have fun with this. If it doesn't bring you joy, perhaps don't do it. If it brings you joy, perhaps do it. And follow those breadcrumbs from one thing of joy to another thing of joy, and allow that to expand and explore those options. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What guidance do you have for me as I navigate my current job? Satisfaction-wise, it's lacking.
Understood.
It's I have a high performance in a low performance position.
Your job doesn't need to define you, but we understand the question. You want to have a sense of fulfillment and a sense of joy in what you're doing. As you navigate your career, decide where you're placing your energy. You have a lot of gifts, a lot of skills, a lot of things, some of which are being used in this current role, some of which are not. But can the role be for you a source of abundance where you place your high-performing energies in other avenues? You are an entrepreneur in spirit, you are a creative, you are a seeker. Very few careers can embrace all of those elements in a way that leaves you fulfilled. If you're looking for something like that in any career, the current career for you and path that you're on probably won't fulfill all of those needs. So the decision for you to decide is this the place that I want to be? Am I being pulled or called somewhere else? So this role for you is new, yes?
Yes.
Is, when you signed up for this role, did it seem to fulfill all of the things, all of the boxes that you needed ticked at the time you took this role?
Yes.
Okay. What has manifest for you isn't that, but give it some time to settle in before you make the decision that this isn't perfect for you. And that's an important distinction. Perfect for you for now, perfect for you forever. This is not a lifelong career. This is a stepping stone to something else. Be who you are. Keep doing the work you're doing. Allow yourself to settle in a bit longer, but in the same token, those other avenues that are itching to be scratched within you, if you choose to, scratch those itches and find fulfillment there. Because as we were talking earlier about the breadcrumb trail, this is a stepping stone to something else for you, but it isn't quite there yet. So breathe, allow this to be what it is, keep doing the work you're doing, but pay attention to that pull that we were talking about. Which of your gifts, which of your skills are being called into service and which are not? And of the ones that are not, is there something else that's pulling at them to be pulled into service? Does that make sense?
Kind of.
We're trying very hard not to steer your direction.
That's okay.
As you have free will, but giving you the insight. So, to recap, the current career isn't your end game.
Mm-hmm.
Never has been your end game. But it is a means to the next step. The next step isn't quite aligned yet with where you are, so you have to give this some more time. There will come a sign for you that will let you know where your next step goes through how you are awakened in that pull, in that energy that leads you to your next path. Not today, but in the near future, within the next year, there'll be something that comes up, even possibly within this current company, but more likely outside, and that sign will become clear. But in the meantime, all those other gifts that aren't being utilized, you have other pathways to utilize them should you choose to. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
I can go. Since we're on the bandwagon of career and changes. I'm in a transition point and I would like to know what I should watch out for, because I've been listening to the others while navigating this transition point.
Great question. As you approach this transition for yourself, be open to all things. And we're going back to the same analogy of the pull. So as you navigate interviews and job applications and career choices and places to be sure you're feeling how they feel. As you navigate the waters, pull the thought, the idea into your heart and feel, does this role feel good? As you're interviewing, do these people feel like, we're going to use the word family, we use that cautiously. Do they feel like friends? Do they feel like sympathetic spirits to where I am in my career? If at any time you feel no, if you hear us speaking to you and saying, no, don't do this, perhaps don't. The example the channel gave earlier in his introduction, we very clearly said, don't walk this path, and the channel chose to, which is an option. And the same applies to you. So if you feel no, then perhaps don't choose that path. And if you feel yes, perhaps do choose that path. Apply for the things you feel called to apply for. Interview as you. Don't not be who you are. A career is just a source of abundance. There are some that will give you more fulfillment than others. Again, we're going to that feeling. Trust your gut. You know you're intuitive, yes?
Yes.
Trust that intuition. Let it speak to you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You're closer than not to your next step. Just use that guidance of this feels right, this feels good, this doesn't feel right. Listen to your guides with their yeses and nos. Are you familiar with how that works within yourself?
I think I've been out of touch with it for a long time.
The easiest way to sharpen that gift is to acknowledge when the hits come. And this is for everyone in the room. You are always in touch with your, we can use the word guardian angels, and we are always working with you through little hits. Things like, don't forget to unplug the iron, don't forget your phone, don't forget your purse, don't forget the meeting. All those things are what we would call hits. To strengthen your intuition, to strengthen that gift, is simply acknowledging those hits when they come. Now here's the thing, this isn't for your angels, guides, or ancestors. This is for you to begin to recognize when those intuitive hits are coming so you can strengthen your trust in them, because that's really what's coming, is your trust of those experiences. Does that make sense?
I believe so.
And the more you listen to that, the more you begin to trust it, the more you follow that advice, and the proof is in the pudding, the more you'll rely on that, the stronger the communication gets. But as always, the communication is simply impressions and pulls and signs, not direction, because none of spirituality is about spiritual GPS in so much as that would rob you of free will. So you always have free will, and that can never be taken from you, but we will certainly guide you along the way, and it is always your choice to follow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're closer than you think.
Okay.
I am sort of at at the treetops in my new life, in my new transition. So I feel like I have many, many branches that are happening right now at the same time. And some are more complex than others, some are overwhelming and some are not. And I'm wondering if there are 3 things that I can focus on that will help me advance so that I can still have all the things that I want in this treetop and be of the service that I want to be at.
The first thing to focus on is breathe. The overwhelming things are only overwhelming at the moment. They will become clearer as you go along. So focusing on breathing yourself through it is the first place to go. Your work with those who have dementia and Alzheimer's is a path for you that is not untangled, as you have discovered. And as you're weaving that, the work is noble and the work is important. Keep focusing on that, allow that to come in. As you're navigating the other branches, allow them to unfold in their time. Some of it is going towards the items that feel the most inspirational at the moment, and then when they don't, put them down and pick up another branch, because sometimes things need to marinate. As you do some work on it, it needs to sit and cure, as in a pottery bowl. The pottery needs to cure before it goes in the kiln to be fired. Also, the firing is a process. So each of these steps have a process, and you can spin one plate, and then when that reaches its culmination, or you run into a place where you need to pause, let that go, pick up the next plate. Don't feel the need to keep all the plates spinning simultaneously, but move from one to another, knowing that sometimes in this process, they need to marinate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the first thing we focus on is the breath, right? Breathe and allow space. Not all of it has to manifest at once. The second thing is following the thing that intrigues you or inspires you at the moment until you reach a place where it needs to marinate, and sometimes those feel like a wall. Understand that the wall isn't there to stop you, the wall is there to allow you to pause for it to marinate. And then the third thing is pick up the next item that allows you inspiration or interest or a path until you hit that next wall. The secret of all of this is rotating through the process. You can do it all. The overwhelming part comes when you think you need to do it all today. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Allow it to unfold, and then move to the next thing, and then move to the next thing. And as you practice this art of moving your attention and your energy, it's going to free you up because you're only focused on one thing at a time. And then as it blooms, you're allowing it to do its work, as it marinates, as it grows like a plant, right? You plant your garden and then you walk away from it and the seeds do the work. Same analogy here. Plant your seeds till you reach the wall, let them do their work while you move on to the next item, and all things will come up together. There's nothing in your current repertoire, for lack of a better word, that is not something you can accomplish. But you can't do it all at once, so pick your plants that you're going to allow to grow, and then move on to the next one and let them do their work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. I do have another question.
Absolutely.
Am I communicating effectively with my guides? And if not, what do they need?
The communication is strong. The communication is good. The longer and more you do it, of course, the stronger and easier it gets, as it is with all persons with gifts. There's nothing they need from you. The biggest thing is making sure that you are out of the way as the messages are coming through, and that's often the most difficult part on the human side. You're doing a good job with it. Just as your gift continues to grow and evolve, the communication will strengthen naturally and will take on different lives, different ways. Each time you grow, each way you encounter individuals that you're helping with the help of your guides, the communication changes slightly. That isn't a liability, that is actually the way this whole thing works. So you're doing fine. continue to let it evolve and get out of the way as much as you possibly can.
So use my intuition as I'm relaying messages.
Absolutely. That's how we speak to you, is
Mhm.
through that intuition and letting it come through. And as you heard the channel in his prayer, have no expectation of the outcome, release any blocks, any judgments, those are the parts that are there for a reason for him. And also we would encourage everyone to have no expectation of the outcome. Don't think it should look a certain way. Even this channeling is coming through in a completely different way than previous channelings. And the channel is having to let go of that and sit in the pocket as it flows, which is a different pocket than was last time, as was the time before. Same is true for you. The pocket changes. Be comfortable with that. Don't judge it. Allow it to be what it is, because you're doing great. You're bringing to the messages that your clients need, and you're helping people evolve. And that's what you set out to do.
What is the best way to convince the client, or convince is not a good word.
Correct.
That every single reading is unique to them, and every single one is being delivered by using my intuition and not my own life experience or things that I may be guessing about them. What is the easiest way for them to get that comfort level? Not easy, the right way.
Right and wrong are such binary answers. Every person is different. The way to get your clients to understand what you've just said is to believe it yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Be in the space of knowing. Be in the space of no expectation. Be in the space of understanding that your gift is unfolding as they need to hear it. By thinking your client needs to be convinced, and all of your Freudian slips were that, because that's what's going on subconsciously. That's the egoic part jumping in the way. So again, we say, get out of the way as much as you can. If they choose to believe you or choose to hear your messages, that's not your business. That's theirs. And things come to each person as they need them to, not how you as the, I'll use the word channel here, decide they need to be. It's up to the person receiving the message what they do with it. And it's really none of your business what they do with it. And if they choose not to hear it, because sometimes people can't. Sometimes the messages that you are bringing through to your clients are seeds that are meant to be planted, but you're not meant to witness the flower bloom. You're there to plant the seed that will then maybe require years of gestation before it finally blossoms and the client has the realization of, oh, and it will still be your seed that began that process, even though you won't get quote unquote credit for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Know that what you're bringing through is right. Get out of the way as best you can and release any expectation on what that looks like from their perspective, because that's what they do with that reading is their business. And it may not ever come to fruition. It may be something that has to happen in the next life, but know that you are planting the seeds, and that as the messenger, as the channel, as the conduit, is your job. Make sense?
Yes.
I have another question.
Yes.
I work at the funeral home, and there are a lot of spirit that come through. It is a lot. But I've noticed that I don't interact with them as much as I feel like I should be. But should I try harder to interact with them, or just observe?
What a fascinating place to be for someone with your gifts.
Yeah.
Right? You used words like should, right? As the spirits enter, are they seeking you out?
A few of them have.
Then help those.
Okay.
The ones that aren't, I'll just observe, because fascinating. What a wonderful place to allow them to be. And this is where they come to be with their family as their families mourn their death, which they, of course, aren't dead. So they enjoy that, those that have a good sense of humor. But some are, in fact, lost. The ones that are lost, that's part of your calling if you choose to embrace that and interact with those. But there's no necessity for you to interact with them. Acknowledge them if they acknowledge you. Let them be, observe. Because your gift is more about helping those that are still here process that in an indirect way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so they're showing themselves to you in a way that when their loved ones are grieving and being bereft, you have an extra authority of compassion to give them peace. And that's really why you're being shown those. And there are some that, of course, are coming to you for guidance and help as you need to, as you're pulled to, as they're requesting. Always be clear of your boundaries. Be cautious of overstepping your role from the rest of your coworkers' egoic perspectives. Does that make sense when I say that?
Mm-hmm.
So just be cognitive of your role, but do your work. You're a healer. One of your gifts is communing with those that have crossed over, and so when it's appropriate, do so. And again, as you are evolving in this role, what a fascinating place to be as you utilize your gifts in the context of where, I mean, what other funeral home, there are a few, has a medium that can help in the process, right? There are a few, they're out there. But help as you see fit. You do not need to insert yourself. You do not need to do more than, if the spirit asks for some assistance, do so with the caveat that you still are on this side of the veil and need to navigate the personalities of those you work with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Not only am I intuitive, but I have 2 children that are intuitive,
Mhm.
one grandkid that's intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Grandkids, they are just seeing things now.
Mm-hmm.
And then older child that is autistic, that is afraid of the things that he's saying. How do I make them all feel safe and comfortable with their abilities?
Talk about it. Have conversations and make it normalize the gifts. For the child that's autistic, teaching them a shielding spell or teaching them how to turn the gift off may be of benefit. And there are plenty of people, at least through here in the center, that can do that. There are plenty of people that can assist you in that particular thing. But also assuring all of those that have the gift that there is really nothing to be afraid of. Energy goes where attention flows. So if fear raises its head, which is actually a past life karma thing, but if they do pay attention to the fearfulness of it, it will manifest, but it has no power over them. When we all incarnate as souls, we are stronger than spirit energy because we are the ones that have the bodies. So teaching them, talking about it, normalizing it, having conversations, asking them good questions. Ask questions of what is he afraid of? What are they seeing? Talk about that and just have it like everyday conversation. Make it not weird, and that will give them more strength. Teaching them to shield, teaching them how to turn it off, teaching them how to turn it on will be a benefit. Especially the younger ones coming in now, the gifts are way stronger than previous generations. It's part of how all of this three-dimensional world is manifesting. So they do need some guidance and require some support in that process. Letting them know that they're not crazy, that it's not bad, which has been done time and time again from previous generations. So the more you can normalize it, the better. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And there are plenty of resources around that can assist you specifically with the turning on and turning off, and how to do that and how to shield. There are those resources which will help all of you protect yourself, but you don't really need protection. You just need to normalize the behavior and understand that there's really nothing to be afraid of. And some of this is past life, so that's why it's showing up as fear.
I had a reading maybe a month or so ago, and in that reading, something was released that has apparently been there for 4 lives, and I definitely felt that process. My angels spoke to the medium, and that was being released. I'm just wondering if my angels have anything to say about, is there anything residual that needs to be released regarding that?
That release is done for you. Are there more things to release, more things to be discovered, more things to unpack? Of course there are. That's part of how all this adventure works. It isn't a binary system. That particular event you're talking about is done for you, unless, of course, you choose to focus energy on it, which will bring it right back. It's like the energy of going back to an abusive relationship in your mind. If you go back to that in your head, you're bringing that energy into your current incarnation, and so areas of that will manifest. So just know from a standpoint of it being done that it is done. Are there more things to discover, more things to unpack, more things to release? Of course there are. There are for everyone in this room. What are those things? Why are you reading the end of the book? Let yourself explore. You have a lot of gifts that are blooming, that have begun to bloom over the last year and a half, and they will continue to grow because you're choosing to nurture them. That will bring with it their own grand adventures. But we're not going to give you the end of the book. Just navigate those waters. You have incredible resources around you to assist you in navigating that path. But the thing you were specifically referring to is done unless you focus your attention on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I haven't even thought about it until I was sitting here. I was just wondering,
Yep, it's done.
That one specific
thing is done.
And they wouldn't tell me what it was, so it's not like I really can focus on it in the beginning.
Well, good, because they also know that you would if you knew what it was and keep checking on it, which is like picking a scab. So it's best that you don't and know that that's done. And then there will be other things to explore and unpack and evolve with as you continue to live, which is exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
You have mentioned past lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually do believe that my son is an incarnation of my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that I have some incarnations of other relatives.
Mm-hmm.
How do you figure out what we need to change this time around?
Great question. You don't need to figure out what you need to change. You just need to pay attention to the experiences that are brought to you and navigate those waters as you see fit. So, lifetimes. You've lived thousands before, as has everyone in this room. Each time you incarnate, your soul puts on a costume that is you this lifetime. The angels, guides, and ancestors' experiences you come into to guide you along this path through what shows up in your world. So if you have a fear of water, so you were drowned in your previous life, you may have a lot of experiences, be born by an oceanside, have to learn boating as a child, and you throw temper tantrums, and your parents help you overcome that. Those are examples of how this unpacks and how you work through, for lack of a better word, karmic debt, and overcome things that you come to encounter. It's not, again, a playbook for like a checkbox. It's more about the experience. The things that come in that raise in you fear, those are things to pay attention to. Those are probably soul lessons that you need to overcome. I'm afraid of speaking in public, so learn how to speak in public. It's no longer a fear. I'm afraid of water. Learn to swim. It's no longer a fear. I'm afraid of heights. Climb a mountain. It's no longer a fear. Those are how you overcome those things. But when you're reaching something that brings up in you that fear, those would be a sign to you that those are the things that you need to work through. There's no time that you have to work through them. But the longer it's been hanging in your lifetimes, the more you won't have really a choice to overcome them. You'll be placed in situations where you must overcome it, because your soul does need to overcome all the things that you're afraid to rejoin ultimately with source energy, because ultimately there is really nothing to be afraid of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I believe so. I'm just trying to figure out how I would explain that to my son.
Has your son asked the question?
No.
Or are you thinking he's going to ask the
I
question?
think he will.
So then you learn more. You learn how to have this conversation easily. For example, you have lived before. So some of the things that you're afraid of, for example, if we're afraid of seeing spirits, if that's something, maybe you were a witch or a warlock in a previous lifetime. Maybe you were burned at the stake. And so that definitely brings the abject fear, but teaching that now is a different time. Yes, there are haters that are going to hate. There's still fear out there about it, but in general, you continue to live. And so as you live and nothing bad happens, that fear subsides. But it's walking the walk to unfold the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of, as the question comes up, have a good dialogue about it. Don't make it weird. Don't make it anathema, right? Have a comfortable conversation about it. And continue to learn. There are tons of resources, tons of books, tons of podcasts, web things on YouTube that will help you explain that and give you the courage and knowledge to have a confident conversation. And there's plenty of people around that can assist you in that process with your son as well.
Okay. Can I ask a?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'd like to know, it concerns my brother, and I'm wondering if we have like past lifetime situations, because we don't get along. He doesn't get along with me. I try to take the high road, I try to be generous, I try to reach out, and he's very resistant.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not like a fight, or there's not an altercation. And so sometimes I feel like it's not maybe of this lifetime, or there's something previously.
Yes, so everyone incarnates with their soul family in some capacity. Mm-hmm. Your role wasn't brother and sister in a previous life, but it was involved, and there was some animosity there. So the best thing you can do when you're doing what you feel called to do, but as you throw out that energy, when is the time for you to stop? When do you just let it be and let him work his stuff out? Because the resistance is coming from his side. There's nothing you can do to make him change his mind. He has to come to that realization himself. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing, but it is not productive in that you're not going to bring about a change within him. The change has to come from within himself. He has to feel a sense of loss to wake up within him, the desire to connect with you on a different level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And the more you continue to be there the way you are, which again, nothing wrong with that, there's no sense of urgency for him to change how he is, because he still gets all the benefit of your relationship while you get none of it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And so maybe don't, and allow him to come to you. This is not a 1 month process, by the way. Mm-hmm. So decide how you want to navigate that. Mm-hmm. But for him to work through what we were just talking about with past lives, he's got to be presented with a situation where that comfort he's getting now is absent, and then his soul can be woken up to reach back. Does that make sense?
Yes. Because I'm at a stalemate of like, there's nothing else that I feel like I can do about it. You know? Yeah.
Walk away
with
the knowledge that it's his life, he's fine, and when he comes back to you, he'll come back to you. Or he won't this lifetime. Maybe it's something that needs to be accomplished next lifetime. It depends on how deeply mired in his story he is. And that's only his to decide.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. These questions are amazing. We thank you for sharing them with us. And there'll always be more, and there'll always be more. What we want to leave you with today is we've talked about your eternal nature. We've talked about lifetimes and gifts and skills and navigating the ups and downs as you're walking this thing called life. Remember to do so with joy. Remember to do so with love in your heart. Find the things that make you happy. For when you're focusing on those, more of that will come into your life. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be the grand adventure. energetically choose to embrace that and walk forth from this place with sunshine in your heart, with love and joy on your fingertips and on your lips, and share that message with others. It doesn't need to be conflict. It doesn't need to be anything other than just you being you. And as you are you, shine brightly on this day. We thank you for your time, and we are complete.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay.
It was a long time, but you were on a roll, so I couldn't stop you.
No. It was great, and I know there's more questions. So that's really different.
That was very different.
That was very different. And okay, so before I got tons of stuff to talk about if you want to, but
Yeah.
so questions, thoughts.
You were spot on. It was spot on.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
spot on.
100%.
It was amazing.
It was okay. Confessions of a channel. It wasn't until the questions that I settled into it. This was so we talked about. I mean, there's okay. To your question, to all what you're talking about, keeping out of the way. There were so many times I wanted to come in and be
Yeah.
like, "Wait a minute," because something you talked about with your brother. I think it was your brother.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt doesn't. I haven't spoken to her, and she's dying or not dying. I don't know.
Mhm.
Setting her energy seems to be getting better. But I haven't spoken to her in years, and I have to let her walk her journey. And that's
Right.
that. I mean, I wanted to jump in and say that. And there was something about something else, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things. So that's just interesting from the standpoint of it took me a while. I was more nervous for this one than I have been in a while. That it took me a second to get in there, but I love the questions. I love the questions. Lots of resources here that can help you navigate all of those waters. I mean, really fun, different. And that's what's unique from my perspective in this seat is everything is always a little bit different each time it comes through.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Well, and even as somebody that's been to every channel,
Mhm.
whatever.
Because you're my
Sidekick.
You're the
Like,
help.
everyone is different, but this like felt really, when I say intense, not bad, like good, intense. Like there's a lot of intuition flowing around here.
you can see how bright red my face is. There's a ton of energy coming through me today,
Mhm.
which is really, really interesting. But I will again say, until the questions started, it was more choppy for me than it has been in the past, which I thought was, well, of course, then there's to the point of getting out of the way, there's all the, oh shit, this isn't working. Oh, what are you doing? All that's in my, I sit over here in my head. When I do this, I try to do that, and then that was really interesting from my perspective. But once it got into the questions, it was like, shoom, boom.
Well, because when
Thank
you
you.
got to the questions, you got to the proof is in the pudding. So every channeling, he comes up with like a warm cookie in my heart. There's the everyone.
Mhm.
There's always like something, and I know him really well, that comes out of his mouth, and I'm like a warm cookie.
Well, and so any channeling uses the tool or the vehicle that it's using. So it doesn't necessarily pull words that I don't know. So some of the examples, if you've ever sat with me, those are words that I would use as well, because that's the tape it can pull from the file of words Paul David knows. And anathema, I think I used today. What the hell? I mean, I have to go actually look up to see if that's right. I'm sure it's right, but I don't know when the last time I used that word is, right? But it pulls different pieces or stories that it can pull in to get the message across. But then sometimes I can't hear the word, or there's so many words that it's like that's when I would pause. It's like filter. There's the word. And slide in, which is interesting from this perspective, and also super creepy because you're like, shit, talk. That's the
I
that's what we're
think I've never done this with you before, but
Mhm.
I feel like the intention in this room today is really, really thick, and it's really got form.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I've been feeling about it. Is that there's a lot of intention here and a lot of it's good intention. It's all positive.
What struck me as interesting is how much was around career today.
Mhm.
That was
That's true.
interesting.
That's true.
But everything everything comes through in as it needs to for the room, and that's what I just again. This is number 5, I think, 5 or 6, and each time it comes through, it's always a different topic. It's a different focus. Where I thought they were going to go is not where they ended up going, which is also interesting. So I'm like, okay, hold on to the rails. I have no idea what's going to come on my face hole next. Right, that's really interesting as well.
Where did you think it was going?
Well, I thought we were going to talk more about, like they did mention being in the joy, but about navigating this thing called life and finding and they did talk about this, but finding the things that make you joyful and vibrating that energy. They hinted at it, they talked a little bit about it, but I thought we were going to get really into depth about just be in this energy. And they didn't. They went, I have to go back and listen to it because I don't know where we went. And then we got into it, and it was just different.
Well, I took it because I have 2 different lives, and one's over here,
Mhm.
the professionalism, one's over here, the gardening and planting, and
This is their message for you.
and then I figured, yeah, and then I'm like, well, maybe I need to keep them, like, you know.
So was I using
Well,
plant?
thanks.
I didn't know you did anything with plants. You really do stuff with plants?
Oh, yeah.
So were you the one I was using plant analogies with?
You were
Or-
using
I don't know, I was something over here, but
But I was kind of relating to that,
Well,
yeah.
what's interesting is I rarely use plant analogies. For what I was talking about, I would use cooking analogies.
Yeah, but I actually, like.
Well, that's just weird to me because I
Yeah.
had no idea. I don't know anything about that. I know only about your professional
I
side.
had a plant shop.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
By the way, you two should connect. She does stuff with plants too.
Yeah.
But interesting, because I know specifically today it was plant analogy. Like, okay, we're growing plants, we're planting seeds. All right. I mean, that doesn't lost on me, but it was like specifically that language is coming through today. That is very interesting to me, because I did not know that about you. Well, very cool.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I was still going to say something and I had.
So far out the rearview mirror at this point, but this is my first channeling event. This is new to me.
Mhm.
But my question to you is, when you were talking about getting the ego out of the way
Mm-hmm.
and embracing, you were saying when you started and everything's coming to you and you want to say this, but you had to push it aside. Is that the ego?
Yeah, so that's Paul David.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the ego.
Yeah.
So what happens is, what I'm doing is when I'm a musician and I'm writing music, I hear the sound of the song in my head, and I use a keyboard to go, there it is. And I don't know how else to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is I'm hearing them, and they're over on this side,
Okay.
and so what I do is I sit in a chair on this side of my head, and then they just come through, and I am watching. I'm aware of what I'm saying to a degree, and it's evolving as I go along. I was more aware and judgy on this side today, but it's learning to just trust because the flow that I was in when I was answering the questions is more what they generally are, and I have no way of knowing that information and placing these things together, like the idea of the plants. I have to trust that that's the right word, because I would have used cooking. If we were doing a reading, I would have said, you cook, and you have to marinate soup, and because it's better, right? But I had no idea she did plants, and so that was what came through. And trusting that is keeping myself over here and just letting the words come out. And I don't know. It's like translating is the best way I can say it. As I'm hearing a word come through or a thought come through, and I'm translating it into a word that comes out of my face. I mean, I don't know. Is that making any sense?
Yes.
Because that's the part that's a little bit weird.
That's fantastic.
And it's cool. It's very cool. And it's just the stuff is just really interesting to me.
I'm trying to figure out if it's just from observing, because he doesn't see what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And all the several different groups we've had, some have been much bigger, some have been about
No,
this
the size.
size.
Mhm.
I feel like it's a kismet thing, like, what's the chances of we all are here today
Mm-hmm.
this is just my experience, but I'm also a little bit Native American too.
For sure.
Things pull spirits together
Yeah,
into
absolutely
one
do.
area to commune, and there's always like-minded people,
Yeah.
and so that's more or less of what was brought to you today.
Each group has been different.
Yeah.
Right? And what comes through is what the group needs to hear, regardless of what I have an intention for, as long as I'm doing my job, which
Yeah.
is get out of the way and bring it through. And sometimes it's harder because there's like, this is a live stream, and is it working? There's a lot of things that made it more difficult for me to relax. They brought to my attention I'm OCD. and I'm a control freak.
Isn't that right?
I'm shocked.
I don't know that anybody has
way.
ever told you that in their life
I'm a
before.
little
Yeah.
so
And what do you do
They're
for a
all
living
different.
that would make you feel like you're OCD?
every
It's
single
like
thing I
think
do.
all of it.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a lot today that made it harder, but you're right. It's like Source brings together what needs to happen when it needs to happen.
I'm
Right.
curious, when you've done your other channeling, are there like-minded individuals in those ones, or are they all over the place?
Answer that she
I
answered
would
better.
say some of the channelings took place when there was a lot of chaos here in the city.
Mhm.
And I feel like at least one of them, the group that came together, didn't all necessarily have the same belief. And the message came through loud and clear. It's not politics but that when you vibrate in the joy, and I felt like that is what that group needed to
Mhm.
hear.
Which is kind of what I thought was
This was
coming in
different.
today, but yeah, it was different.
This was
Yeah.
very, very, very different. It was more, there was just a lot of energy going on, but it was good.
Mhm.
And none of the energy has ever been bad, so please don't get that confused. I just, like, to your point, like, I feel like the people that were sitting here in other channelings everyone didn't need to hear this, not the same message, but this, like,
6 out of 8.
Uh,
It's hard to describe, right? Everything is a little bit different. This felt more cohesive, I would say.
yes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I don't know if that's like the progression. I don't feel like that's the progression. I feel like
I
the
think it's
next
the group.
channeling could be completely different.
Mhm.
I think that everybody's sitting here today was meant to sit here.
Yeah, I think it's the group.
Mhm.
I mean, there are people that were going to be here. They're not, which is fine. Right? So, but again, we're also fighting a beautiful day. But I think to your point, I think the Spirit brings together who needs to be together to hear and see what it is. And everything will speak to every single person, and goes back to your question. Now, when I leave this, I have no fucks about what you guys do with it, right? You know, and what I mean by that is it's not my job. I bring through what I needed to bring through, and what you do with it for your career or your retirement or your children or your plant shop or your business is up to you all to do with it, right? And that's actually something that is hard because you're invested into it. You want people to, like it and be successful, and I can't care. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the hard part. That's the egoic part, because you want to be good, be a good channel, right? Well, I can't worry about that. Otherwise, I'll be. And that was probably part of what, as I was getting into it, where it was a little more choppy, is once I got again the questions. That's when I know, boom, I was there. I was sitting over here. It was just the thing, and that was again a learning for me.
Well, usually you channel. It's never the same amount of time. So we started later today,
Mm-hmm.
and you channeled 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But the question part was
Yeah.
like 45,
Mhm.
47 minutes.
Mhm.
So that very, very, very different.
Well, all of it, even my story, it's a longer story. And I just hit a couple high points because some of you hadn't heard it before, and then we just jumped right into it. And then when it was ready, it was surprising to me how fast it went. It was also surprising to me how long the questions went. That was, as I'm sitting over here, it was like, wow, this has gone on a while. It's like, I have no idea what time it is.
But if
So
you could
that's-
watch people's faces, it was, and you said, like, she asked the first question.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question? She's like, well, not really. Or not really, but,
Yeah.
and then you
Which is
said,
okay.
let's dig deeper.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it was a great exchange in that, and there was, I don't know if it was you,
There
a
was
couple
more
of those
in
things.
digging into the questions this time than has been before. So if it didn't get answered, it was a clarification, then it was a reframing, and that hasn't always happened or needed to happen. But I like that because let's get into it. Let's get a little bit deeper, and that also, as I'm learning that from without getting out of the way, that was interesting to me as well.
And I don't know if the people in this room just, their gift is stronger. I don't know if it's the card you made, because this is only the second time you've had the card. So if that made the questions easier,
Yeah.
but the first time, it was a big event at the Edge, and there was probably 25 or 30 people, and they had the cards, and they didn't ask.
As good a question as
Thank
where
you.
she's going.
I was like,
I would agree
I don't
with
know how
that.
to say this, but, and I felt like I didn't feel like any questions in this room were, that had any ego in them.
Mhm.
Where I've felt in other times, people are coming, well, answer my question.
Yeah.
And they already think they know the answer. I
Mhm.
felt like there was a lot of openness to hearing what was coming.
I would agree with you. I don't feel like anybody knew the answer the way you're saying it, because some people were like, I just want to hear her say it, right? There wasn't any of that, but also it was, I thought the questions were really fun. I enjoyed that interplay today. That was a really cool thing.
So I have a question for you. So when you were saying that sometimes, that you mentioned that some of the things that were coming through from your guides,
Mhm.
that you were saying that you didn't agree with, like, can you
So
expound on that?
yeah, so
That's a good
I
word.
really struggle with
That's a good word.
expound. Holding everyone as source energy regardless of their actions. So that really came through a lot in January, February, March, where ICE was here and people were like, bad things were happening to some people. And the guides were very clear in, number one, if it's not happening to you, it's none of your damn business. My words, not theirs. But the gist was, and I'm like, but things are happening. And they're like, but if it's not directly affecting you, it's not for you. And that was really hard for me to sit
Right.
with.
Yeah.
Or even the people perpetrating these acts are source energy.
Right.
So send them love and
Exactly.
light.
Yeah.
How about you go fuck yourself, is my opinion, right? And so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's those kind of messages, but they're not wrong, right?
Right.
And that's the ego fighting with the spirit of
Right.
everyone. And how can we judge? And this goes a little bit even to your brother. You don't know what his experience is, even though you're
Right.
soul family.
Yeah.
And it's not your business. Like with
Right.
my aunt. So my aunt's a Jehovah's Witness, and I started reading tarot cards, and she said, my mom died, I used to call her every week because I was a connection to her, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe life passes death. They think if you're dead, you're dead. And I know that's not true. And so I
Right.
kept calling to be an open conduit to my mother, and then she found out I read tarot cards and stopped taking my calls to like answer or would go to voicemail. And it took me a while to realize that I'm blessing her with, this is the part to your brother, I'm blessing her with my, because I leave out, hey, great to hear you, I hope you're doing well, smiles and sunshine. She was benefiting from my gift, but never having to reciprocate it. And it
Right.
took me a little bit to go, well, wait a minute, why am I blessing her and not getting anything in return? She's just, screw you. So it's been,
Right.
except for years now. And now she's dying. Or not dying, I don't know. She was dying, brain bleed, something happened. And, it's all this drama of, how do you respond to someone that's there? And the answer is hold them in love and light. Even though her journey, the first person she's going to come to see when she dies is me. I'm crystal clear aware of that. I've known that for years.
Yeah.
Right? But I have to let that go.
Yeah.
And I have to still send love and light. So I've been sending Reiki whenever I'm doing my sessions. I send her a huge ball of Reiki, and according to the text message, she's getting better. So, we'll see. But I have to let that go. I have to learn to still send love and light, even though my ego's like,
Right.
how dare you? Right? And
Right,
that's
so,
the hard part.
Yeah, so you still have, you still try to respond,
Mhm.
like, oh, this happened to me, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, or whatever. If I'm the first person he reaches out to if
Mhm.
something happened, but when I think about it, like, if something happened to me, I would never reach out to him.
Right.
Because I wouldn't get anything back,
Right.
other than maybe contempt.
Mhm. Which is,
Hard
man,
lessons to learn. though,
It's
aren't
hard.
they?
they are. They are.
But
it's also,
I realize it, and I take the step back.
For sure.
And I realize, I realize what's going on, but still, in your everyday life, it's still, you're like, oh my God,
Mhm.
wow.
Mhm.
Even though I know I still have to do it, because I
Yeah.
take the higher viewpoint.
It's hard.
But it's really,
You
it's,
guys are much better than me because I cut off people just like that and then I'm done.
Well, everyone shows up in this incarnation differently. There's nothing wrong with that's your way of doing it, right?
Do you think
And-
she's the king of swords?
Exactly.
Oddly, we were born on the same day,
oh,
the same year.
Oh, another sad, huh?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, the same day that she's older than I am, she was born at 6 a.m. I wasn't born until 11 p.m.
Oh,
And we weren't born in the same hospital. But other than that,
Everyone shows up differently. If your way needs to be changed, the universe, and someone, we were talking about this with something, the universe will provide you the breadcrumbs to show you that it needs to change. And it might not need to change. It's not mine to judge. I don't know. You do you, boo, right? But if you need to change, the universe will provide you experience after experience that will force you to make a change or to confront that. If you don't need to change, if you're not getting those experiences, then you don't need to worry about it. Right? And trust, the universe will show you if there's something that you need to encounter.
It has.
Yeah, for sure.
Things, but
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I have learned just that that's what I need to do, so.
And maybe you do. And everyone handles it. See, one of my strongest spiritual gifts is forgiveness. So, I mean, I forgive everybody. Well, fine. You steal all my money and whatever. Okay, great. You want to go for lunch? I mean, it's a thing. But it's the right spiritual gift.
Yeah.
But I also need to temper that, right? And so it's about finding in all things, it's always about finding that balance. So, again, but if that serves you and the universe isn't going, oh, a dream, you need to change this, then don't worry about it, right?
I mean, I think I do for certain people and I do for them, for certain
Yeah.
people, so.
Well, your intuition is strong. I mean, some of that is in your genes, right? So keep playing with that and keep developing it as you want to, because it could be a tool we can all use to navigate this thing called life, right? It's super important. It helps give us. It's never going to tell us what to do, but it gives us that insight so we can make decisions. I love that.
you're so spot on with my career question though. This is insane. I have, because I just started this new job. Well, I've been there for like 5 months. 4 or 5
That's
months.
just started.
It's at a funeral home. I am the head of the AR department for Washburn McGreevy, and it is the most boring job I've ever had in my life.
Except the spirits that are talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It
like-
was the creepiest job when I first started. Like, I won't go in a basement bathroom because of the girl that's in there, but like, it's really satisfying. Like, it's
Well, does she
nice.
grope you or something?
No, she'll like knock on things.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go to the bathroom and I'll hear like, dum, dum, dum. Stop
Did
it.
you-
Like,
Well, you asked her what she wants.
Did you hear the knock when this started today?
No, she heard.
I heard it. Yep.
I heard it, but then I was like, I know there's a live stream,
There's
so I
nothing
was
there,
like,
but we both heard, she went after it, and I'm like,
and then
I
we worked out,
I'm not doing it.
and I'm like, it might not have
I
been
used to
someone.
babysit
Someone
a
was
family who had a funeral home,
Yeah.
it's all that stuff.
Yeah, it's just,
And I
it's
stopped babysitting.
See now,
What
this
what I'm
is.
getting is that you know this person.
the person in the basement?
Yeah.
Or, oh,
That's what I'm getting. She's coming through to me now. And
Oh.
she's saying, I knew you in a former life and I'm trying to get your attention.
oh.
She knows you.
Well, that's great. She can
But she
exist
wants,
down
she
there.
wants to have a relationship. She wants to be close to you again.
Oh.
She's got good intention.
Oh, that's nice.
You still more let her in the bathroom with you. But it's nice for her to talk.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just she gets like
like a-
really like, she'll like, you know she's in the stall next to you because you can just feel her there.
Oh, sure.
And it's like she gets irritated when other people go into the bathroom, and so if I go in there after other people, she's like puffed up
But
and
haven't
angry.
you ever had where, because I feel like you either have or you're going to have, I mean, it's not just at the funeral.
No, she's.
Oh no, I've been
I mean,
I've been
but
a professional
is-
thief for
isn't it-
15 years.
But she's not gonna stay in the bathroom.
Oh
If
no,
you
she
keep
stays in
her-
the bathroom.
Yeah, but
She might come visit.
She may come visit.
She might come visit every
Yeah.
once in a while. There's one.
Because I ignored things for so long, and if you ignore them, they're still gonna come after you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just.
But have no fear about them. Just,
No.
I mean, I would say you can put up your barriers. We talked about shielding.
I have been really blocked ever since I started working there because I got so
I think you
freaked out when
have
I was
to.
walking around. Yes,
You
I'd
have
walk
to.
around and get like freaked out because like giant men would be like walking past me. It was just whole.
Overkill.
There's a reason I don't have that gift because I would be like completely, dude, what's going on?
I know.
I would be like
Yeah.
so
Tell
engaged
me
in
about
that.
it.
Bring it, come on.
No, I
Everyone has
would
different
get,
gifts.
when I get startled at
Here
work
is
and nobody
something.
knows that I was a medium
Mhm.
for a really long time.
Wrong
Nobody
word.
knows. What?
Used the wrong word there.
It's I am me.
Here we go.
Yes.
She knew.
Nobody knows my prior career choices. So I'll just,
Nobody on this earth, you mean?
not in that
Not in
building.
that particular building.
Not in that building.
Some of us are still encouraging
Yes.
career choices, but
Yeah. So
I stayed over here.
but I'll get like startled. Then people are like, "What's wrong with her?" Stop things. But like it's scary, like when you first start there. But anyway, so I start work at 7, and I force myself to not start until 8, and then I'm done at 8:30. That is my entire day, and I have to sit there and pretend to be busy for hours and hours until some.
You know my dad used to work at Washburn Burger.
I do know that. Yeah, I looked him up.
Good. Awesome.
He did.
I think I told you that too.
He did. But I really love it, and I really love the people. It's just, well, I don't really like the office ladies, which is funny. There's also something you picked up on because they are the meanest women, and they are all in their 70s, and they are so angry.
Well, why not? Because my dad used to work over there.
We're all
Just-
connected.
Is her name Shannon?
No,
Okay.
no, her name is Flo.
Great.
I love that.
Perfect.
That's, yeah, it is.
Fucking Flo. She was so angry. She would yell at me like
Fucking Flo.
when I first started. She would just yell at me
Did you
because
just
I
look
was
at her?
taking her job.
Did you just look at her? I said I just like look at her. Like
I did.
Like she's weird. Like
I did that. I one time I pushed back a little bit, and she started crying for the rest of the And then another
that's
time,
a textbook defense
it was
mechanism.
ridiculous. Another time, she was like, "You don't take criticism well," and I was like, "You've been yelling at me for weeks." Anyway, so
See, I
dislike my job very much, but it's nice.
Well,
there it's
yeah.
what they said. Give
Yeah.
it some time.
yeah,
There's
obviously.
there's a lot of things here for you. If just give it, let it settle. If you choose to.
Yeah, if I choose
If you
to.
choose to.
The accountant tried to recruit me already, which was nice.
Okay.
I just felt loved.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for appreciating me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Let's want to close the little invocation. Creator Source, thank you for these holy moments. Help us release any attachment to the outcome as they are released to go do work in their do their work in the world as appropriate. It is done. It is done. It is done. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all being here. Have an amazing, amazing rest.